Hi there. I'm Mary Eileen Williams at Feisty Side of 50 Radio, and this show is a celebration of baby boomer women who are embracing life as we grow older. No invisible shrinking violets here. We're an amazing and bodacious group of women who are revolutionizing and reinventing the spirit and style of aging. Today I'm welcoming a very special guest, Michelle Kaplan, also known as Winnie Winster. Michelle's alias stems from a brainstorm she had about online gaming. Instead of gaming being solely about competition, Michelle decided to turn the activity into a friend-building exercise in cooperation, and voila, Winster.com was born. Boomers are flocking to this fun and social site in droves, and Michelle is joining us today to tell us all about it. So welcome, Michelle. It's really a treat to have you on the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Eileen.
Well, we chatted a bit before the show started. I called you Winnie. I may be going back and forth because I am over 50 and mental pause is hitting, but I'll try to remember your right name. But let's do start out by you giving us a little more background on the personal story of how Winster.com came to be and a little bit more about the site itself.
Sure, yeah. Well, Winster kind of got started when I had been playing some online games. I was playing a game called Double Solitaire where you play against another player, and it was extremely competitive, and I enjoyed the mental activity of doing it. You had to really kind of think and be fast. But I was playing against a lot of men, it seemed, and they would get sort of upset and angry if you didn't play the right cards and that type of thing. So I talked to my husband, and I said, I really enjoy playing this game, but parts of it are very stressful because people kind of get mad at you, and I'm really looking to do something more that's cooperative, where you're kind of being friendly with other people, and you're not having kind of people yell at you, or sometimes people would swear at me, and that took kind of the fun out of it. And so we talked about it a bit, and I said, women really like to be playing games that are more cooperative. They don't really want to be playing the games that are super competitive. And at that point, there wasn't anything really on the web that addressed that need for women. And so after we talked about it a bit more, we said, hey, we should come up with something that is cooperative, where people can play together in a friendly environment, where they can meet other people, make friends, kind of talk and chit-chat and that type of thing, and not feel pressured and not feel that, they have to do something in someone else's time frame or that type of thing. And that's kind of how Winster was born.
Well, I love that take because you're right. Women especially, I think some women tend to be super competitive, but a lot of us tend to be more drawn to the more cooperative, let's help one another out and both succeed kind of way about things.
Right.
And I also know that Winster.com has been getting tons of response from baby boomers. So why do you think it's especially popular with our generation, with the boomer generation?
Yeah, I think one of the things it does is it provides kind of this social network of fun, friendly people that you can kind of pop in and out of playing a game. That's one of the great things about Winster is you can play for 5 minutes, you can say I'll be right back, or you can come back again in another hour, and you can still find your friends and you can still play. So I feel like for baby boomers, the time that you have that you want to kind of play some games and relax and that type of thing, you don't have to make a huge commitment to doing it. You can play for an hour if you want, but you can also play for 5 minutes if you want. And it just provides another layer of friends for you, people to socialize with. If you're home alone for some reason, and you want to kind of talk to some people, you can go online and have a really lovely time. So I think there's that, and there's also the games, the way that they're designed, are really more based around the way that games used to be played probably when we were younger kids, and we would sit around and I was telling my kids how we used to play jacks, and they had no idea what that was. But I don't know if you remember that, but how fun that was to sit in a little circle and play a game, and it's kind of the same type of experience that I think baby boomers are used to from when they played games as kids.
Well, another thing I'm thinking, especially for baby boomers, and I will, again, speak for myself as I did in the intro, my brain needs a little extra help these days. So just the fact of, not only connecting with other people, but actually the challenge of playing a game is really good for us on mentally, emotionally, and all that other way.
Right. There's been so many studies recently that have come out and said how really positive it is to use your brain for those types of things. You're doing puzzles and word games and things like that. That really does help with memory memory and brain activity and all of that kind of stuff. But there's also been some other studies that have come out that said cooperating and helping other people also has really dramatic benefits for your brain and for your sort of mental state, and I haven't really described the games, but you do help other people. So if you're playing a puzzle and someone needs a piece that you have, you give it to them and they give back to you. And so the act of doing that really kind of makes you feel good, so you kind of walk away a little happier than when you started, hopefully.
It just sounds wonderful. We've talked a lot about the socializing aspect of it. So if I go on the site as a new player, how am I going to make some new friends?
Okay, so what happens is you go on the site, it's winster.com, and a new player immediately will be paired with what we call a host. And a host is someone who's been playing for a while who has volunteered to help new players. And so you'll be paired with another player, and they can kind of explain things to you. They'll play with you in a room. So what happens on Winster is you never play by yourself. There's a room with 5 people, so it's you and 4 other people who are playing and talking and sharing pieces and that type of thing. So your host will take you into a room, maybe with some of their friends that they already have, and introduce you around and kind of explain things to you. So normally what happens is people, sometimes you're paired with, obviously if you're new, you're paired with people that you haven't met before. And because you have to trade pieces, you have to communicate with each other. So that kind of breaks the ice and breaks the barrier of, if you're shy and you're not used to kind of going out and talking, someone will say, hey, do you need this piece, or can I have your X, or, that kind of thing. And so you have to kind of communicate. So that's how things usually start. And then people kind of see each other a couple times, and we do have a friend list, so you can add someone to your friend list, and they can add you, and then you can request to play with them when they're on. And people make dates. I'll meet you at 7, and we'll play, and that type of thing. So friendships, it's organic in the way that you would also meet a friend in real life. But because you have to communicate, you kind of have to make friends as you play.
I love this. Michelle, this is really an innovative approach that draws on so much, that's good, which is such a wonderful way of using the Internet.
Right, it's just very positive. That's the thing, and we try to make sure that every, thing that we add or the games that we have or things like that nothing that we do takes away from kind of the positive aspect of it. So we don't, have anything that would make people feel competitive or feel negative or that type of thing. So, that's the most important thing. We want people to make friends, be able to talk to other people, and not feel stressed or that it's not a pleasant experience. So they always hopefully walk away with a smile.
Well, you mentioned now some of the games, again, puzzles and maybe some more games. Are there any other games we might find when we go on Winster.com?
There are 9 different games, and they're all similar in that you're collecting pieces and trying to put something together. Our most popular game is called Slot Social, which is, you have different pieces and you put them together and you get different points for, all cherries or things like that. So people actually make sub-games within the games. They call them, let's play Winnies, because that's one of our pieces that you get. And if you get all Winnies, you get the most points. And so everybody will give one player all their Winnies until they win, and then the next player. And so it's really, really cute. They've developed these sub-games within the games, which are just really, really fun. So it's funny for us because we thought, we developed the games, but then they're taking it one step further for making a sub-game with it as well. And there's 9 games, so if you like, playing, we have Spell Squad, if you like doing word games, or we have puzzle games, we have the Slot Social game, which is really fun. So there's something, for everybody's taste on the site.
Wow, and we have been talking about the importance kind of, again, these mental challenges as well as making friendships and all, but I know you've actually got some anecdotes of people who, it really has changed their life to go on Winster.com.
Yes.
Do you have one or two you might share?
Yes. We have a great story about a woman who was severely overweight, and she was going to have a operation to remove some of her skin and that type of thing. And I guess she had been very depressed, and she didn't have a lot of friends that she dealt with because it was very hard for her to get around. And so she kind of came on the site, and she said it almost saved her life. She was sort of, thinking it's just not worth it anymore. She made this wonderful, wonderful group of friends, and she went to have this surgery, and everybody really supported her. And her husband was giving updates to, the site and to all of her friends as she went through it. And she had said, if it hadn't been for this support group. She doesn't know, what kind of a turn her life would have made. So, we have stories like that. I have another man who I actually met who was going through chemotherapy. He had colon cancer, and he was home alone because his wife worked. He had 2 kids, but they both worked as well. And so he said it was just so sad, kind of being home alone. He was used to being out, but he just didn't feel well enough to go and go out and do things. And so he met this group of friends on Winster, and they helped him through his whole chemotherapy. And now he's better. He's doing great. And he really credits with his Winster friends with really kind of saving his life in a way as well, because he was so kind of sad and lonely and kind of waiting around, and it just wasn't fun. But he found that he had enough energy that he could play Winster when he needed to, and it just really, really raised his spirits. And as I said, people are so positive, that they give you encouragement and that type of thing when you need it.
Oh, Michelle, I've got goosebumps. Those are beautiful stories. And, too, I know one of the things about, there's a lot of gifts with growing older. I'm a firm believer in that. But that also when things happen like that where you start to feel isolated, and, you can go downhill fast. So, going on Winster.com and meeting some people and getting these kinds of friendships going, I just think it sounds wonderful. Now, I'm going to ask you a practical question. A lot of us are on a budget. How much money does it cost to play?
It's free, so you can come and play for free. Yeah, there's no barrier there. You can also, we also have memberships where people pay a small amount of money a month, and they get extra spins, or they get to be on the website without having to see ads or that type of thing. So you have your choice as to whether you want to be a free player, whether you want to be a member, that type of thing. So no barrier there.
Well, this is just win, 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 win.
Yeah.
No wonder your name is Winnie Winster, your alias.
Yeah, right, exactly.
So, again, you mentioned how you kind of start connecting with friends and all that, but how does one get started? Do you just go to the site and sign up? How does that work?
You go to Winster.com. It's Winster, Winster.com. And once you go on there, you'll be asked to create a screen name, and then you'll get paired with the host, and away you'll go. You can also find us on Facebook if you want to kind of see what people are saying and connect with other people there. And it's Facebook.com/Winnie Winster. You'll see a picture of me as soon as you go on there. And we're also on Twitter at www.twitter.com/Winnie_Winster. So if you want to get more familiar, before you start to play, that's a great way to do it as well.
Now, I am not the world's best speller, so how do you spell Winnie Winster?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Winnie is Winnie, Winster, Winster.
Oh, gosh, Michelle. Well, I think you have thought of just about everything, and this really does sound like a really fabulous opportunity for those of us who have some time on our hands and might be feeling like we want to reach out and meet other people and have fun and improve our brains all at the same time. Time has flown. We've got about a minute and a half left. So do you have any final thoughts you'd like to leave with our listeners?
Yeah, I would just say it's so much fun. It's worth a try for anybody, especially if you're used to playing other games. If you've played Farmville or you've played Cityville or those types of things. It's really worthwhile to come and check out what the difference is between those types of games and what we're doing. And if you're home alone, if you're isolated, maybe you live in a remote area, or maybe you're disabled and you're not able to get out as much as you would like to, it's really a great way to have that support system and that friend network that everybody really needs, especially as they age. It's so important. And people really make lifelong friends on our site. It's really quite amazing the kind of support you can get with your Winster friends. So I would encourage everyone to give it a try. And as I said, you can pop in, play for 5 minutes. Maybe if you have a little more time and you want to sit down and have a cup of coffee or a glass of wine. We do have some of our players who say, "I'll be right back. I've got to refill my wine glass." So it's like a whole party, a lot of times online. So I would encourage people just to give it a try and see if it's something that fits in with what they've got going on in their life.
Well, Michelle, thank you. We've got about 10 seconds left, so I need to leave it at that, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
For all you listeners out there, I believe it's time we boomers take pride in all of our accomplishments, our glorious maturity, and find new ways to share and communicate, just like our friend Michelle, a.k.a. Winnie Winster, suggests that we do. So go out there and show the world just how feisty a woman over 50 can be. This is Mary Eileen Williams at Feisty Side of 50 Radio, saying catch you next time. Bye-bye.